Okay, hello. Hi. My name is Suzana and I'm from Malaysia. So today I would like to share a bit about my background and my work in conservation and why I'm eager to attend the Global Conservation Symposium for Deep Cup. So first of all, I am a graduated student with first class honor in forest design from University Putra Malaysia. So during my final year at university, usually we will have a final year project. So at that time, my final year project is about vegetation propagation of Dipterocarp species, specifically Neobananacarpus hemii, and also known as Cengal in Malaysia. So this species is classified as endangered in IUCN Red List. So for my project, I used the A layering method to propagate Cengal, aiming to evaluate the growth performance of A layering on this species. So what we found was quite interesting as in one of my sample, we observe callus formation, which may indicate that the branches could potentially be propagate and develop roots. And this observation sparked my interest to learn and work more in growth performance, especially for conservation purpose of endangered plants. And then after my final year project, I have the opportunity to do internship at Forest House, and I'm doing the internship around 4 months at Forest House. And a short brief on Forest House. Forest House actually is a conservation orientated landscaping company, and they have a conservation department to promote conservation of local forest species. So, for your information, Forest House Conservation has a nursery where they have a diverse collection of Dipterocarp species and other species based on forest layers. And they also have a really strong team in tree identification and nursery management. So which make me even more excited to learn about forest species and get more involved in conservation work. So to be honest, it was an eye-opening experience for me because during my university day, most of my studies is just based on theory. So when I'm having my internship in the Forest House Conservation Nurseries, so I had the opportunity to do hands-on activities and learn the challenges in growing and managing the native forest species, as well as how conservation work intersect with local community and with broader ecosystem. So moving forward, after I finish the 4 month internship there, I was offered a position as a conservation officer by Forest House. So and now I have been working in this role for 2 years already. So in my current role, I am involved in several key responsibilities. So first one is I involve and manage few programs and grants focused on community-based forest conservation. So one of it is under the Habitat Foundation. So the title of the project is Greening Together, Empowering Community Forest Nursery in Peninsular Malaysia. So in this project, we focus on developing and capacity building of the indigenous community, where we visited their forest species nursery, and we give them support in terms of necessary materials and equipment. We also provide them some technical advice and also more support so that they can stay motivated to continue their effort in conserving the native forest species. So we also, during this project, we also promote and showcase their products on our social media, and this is to connect them to potential buyers. So we continue our engagement with this community by connecting suppliers and buyers in a more strategic way, create a more reliable and sustainable market channel for the seedlings. So, okay, coming back to my role as conservation officer, I also handle tree procurement and documentation. I the one that will liaise directly with the buyers, suggest the species based on their needs and planting goals. And I will also prepare the plans for delivery and manage documentation such as invoice and delivery orders. Moreover, I also manage the data and inventory for the forest house conservation nursery. So usually I will conduct a species inventory in the nursery like 3 times a year at least. And so during the inventory, we usually will look on to the total number of species that we have collected, the quantity of each species, and their growth performance on field. So after after the inventory, we will compile everything in Excel, including the input and output of the seedlings. So as part of the inventory, I also keep track on the survival rate of the individual species. So, for example, when we notice that the survival rate of the Dipterocarps seedlings was low in one area, we will do trial and error by moving them to more shaded location to improve their survival. So because we know that Dipterocarp species are really sensitive to the weather, right? Um, so this hands-on approach allowed us to adapt our management strategies based on the actual observations and results. And personally, for me, the ongoing inventory work really helped me to polish my skill in species identification, which I think this species identification skill is very important in conservation work. I also gain insight into the demand from certain categories of species that often used in restoration project, landscaping work, or general community driven things. And I would like to share that I have finished my second inventory in August. So currently our nursery has approximately 80 Dipterocarp species and over 200 numbers of other native forest species. So among the 80 Dipterocarp species that we have, 5 species are critically endangered, 22 species are endangered, and 24 are in vulnerable status. So we are aiming to collect more and more ERT species as well as other forest species. So in order to diversify our collection. So we hope to share about our collection to a broader audience including the international communities. And I would like to attend the Global Conservation Symposium for Deep Throat Cup because I wish to learn more about conservation effort in Malaysia and other regions as well. And I want to gain a deeper insight from other people and other organization and explore new approaches that explore new approaches that we could apply in our operation. Specifically, I want to learn how our work on the ground can directly improve the conservation status or effort of the crocop species, for example, in improving the IUCN red list category. And one interesting thing about me is that I can speak Mandarin quite fluent. And so for this reason, Forest House assigned me the responsibility to develop and foster a relationship with the Sichuan tropical botanical garden, which has great reputation in tropical conservation. So 我很高兴能接受这项任务，也很期待和西双版纳热带植物园有更多的交流，看看有哪些合作和学习的机会可以一起推动龙脑香科和其他重要的森林物种的保护。我相信向国际专家学习，建立合作关系会让我们的保护工作更有效，也能为区域的保护行动贡献一份力量。谢谢。